Good morning, everybody. I wish you are having a great time being here. I wish you all an excellent Tuesday morning. From here, we are located in Tampere, Finlayson meeting area, which is in the middle of Tampere city center. And we are now in an old but modern factory building, which is built of red bricks. It's typical for Tampere. My name is Johanna Salmi, and I'm heading our HR in Finland at Etteplan. I joined Etteplan 3.5 years ago, and my location is here in Tampere, basically in Hervanta. So it's really, truly great to have you all here. We have more than 100 joiners there online, and also truly many here offline. So please, everybody, feel once again warmly welcome. Let's look at our agenda a little bit. So it's here. In the beginning, we have keynote speaker, and then a panel discussion with 4 panelists, and our keynote speaker is facilitating that panel. After the discussion, you have a possibility for questions and answers. And online participants, you can ask questions in the stream chat. And conclusion words will be 10:20, and this event ends at 10:30. And then a couple of words concerning Etteplan. Etteplan is a global, multidisciplinary organization founded in Finland. We were founded in 1983, so this is our 40th anniversary year. And Etteplan is also listed in Nasdaq Helsinki. And our biggest location is here in Tampere, in which we have 500 employees, 2,000 altogether in Finland. Globally, we have more than 4,000 employees. In addition to Finland, we have other locations in different countries, in Denmark, in Sweden, in Poland, Germany, the Netherlands, China, and US. We have diverse business areas, 3 of them. SIS means software and embedded systems, and then we have engineering solutions, and finally, technical communication solutions. And in addition, we have, of course, group functions. Our revenue is 350 million. It was last year. And we are a growth company. So let's move these slides here. This was the previous one, and then the last one. So why Etteplan wanted to be involved in women in tech? Etteplan wants to work towards empowering more women to pursue careers in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. In addition, we also hope to further advance Etteplan's work in DEI through this collaboration. And you can also see that Happy Days, it's at Etteplan. It's a global community leave initiative that aims to create awareness and understanding of diversity, equity, and inclusion at Etteplan. So this is why Etteplan has joined Women in Tech. But now, let's move forward. I have a pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Katarina Kantel. So please feel warmly welcome. The stage is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Johanna, and thank you for the whole Etteplan community and you amazing people for inviting me here as well today, and for the opportunity to be part of this morning and part of this event with you. So, my name is Katarina. I'm a great many things, but maybe first and foremost, I'm an entrepreneur. I founded my own company a couple of years ago. It's called Adalian, and we're applying AI, specifically language technology and NLP, to study corporate culture. So we're analyzing different companies and trying to improve the way in which people interact in those companies for better well-being. So I'm at the heart of AI in my daily work. I'm also a mother of 2 children. The youngest one just started school, so lots going on in my life. And then in my free time, I love 3D modeling. So now you know something that's not in my CV, and that's really, I don't know if I'm a little embarrassed, it's like mobile gaming, but 3D modeling is that for me. So as women can take on many roles, today I'm also taking a multifaceted role here with you. I'm delivering a keynote, hoping to inspire you and give you some thoughts on AI and what's happening in the world of professional development. But I'm also going to be facilitating the amazing panel that we have ahead of us. So hoping to cope with all of these roles and then conclude the event. But as said, there will be an opportunity for questions for you, the audience and the participants and everybody online. So if you have anything on your mind during the event, during the keynote or during the panel, please write those down and we will have a chance to take on some of those questions at the end of the event. And I would really like to encourage you to do so, because it's always lovely to hear your viewpoints. Okay. So today's theme is professional development in the era of AI. And I was thinking that we could introduce ourselves to the topic by first actually very briefly looking at what is AI really. We take it for granted. Everybody's talking about AI all over the place, and people perceive it and understand it in very different ways. So we'll have a little grounding, little introduction at first, but then we'll pretty quickly dive into what's actually happening in the job market. And what's happening in companies and creation of new roles, new job roles, and what's happening to current professions in different industries because of AI, and what's happening in the tech field. And then we'll look a little bit about what kinds of skills are required now that we have all of this new technology, and how all of us can think about what do we want to learn in the next phases and focus on in the next phases to kind of find our paths in the changing professional landscape. And then a couple of examples from different industries, and then we'll have an opportunity to engage in the panel. So I wanted to kind of ground all of us and start with not a simple definition, but sort of a synthesis about how I perceive AI based on how it's defined in different places. So artificial intelligence, AI, is specifically, we're talking about code, we're talking about technology, we're talking about a set of algorithms that has the capability to perform tasks that are typically associated with humans. And humans are often carrying out tasks that require intelligence, creativity, negotiation, or complex reasoning. But one thing that distinguishes AI, in addition from just a bunch of algorithms or set of code, it's its ability to learn. So AI is comprised of a set of algorithms that are able to rewrite themselves based on the data that they get in. So this ability to learn is something that is very, very much emphasized when we're talking about AI. It's not just any generic technology, but it has these sort of human-like qualities, and that's why we're talking about intelligence in that sense. There are generally 3 types of AI. We have product AI, for example, probably all of you are familiar with Netflix. So the recommendation algorithms in Netflix are a simple example of product AI. Then we have process AI. We're applying AI in factories and different kinds of processes to make them smoother and more optimized. And then we have insights AI, which is basically what my company, for example, is doing. We're using AI and new technology to leverage new insights from what's going on in the world to support decision making. So a lot is cooking in the field of AI, and technology is progressing super fast, as you've probably noticed over the past couple of years, with NLP, the language models, ChatGPT, generative AI, but also visual image processing and analysis. And now we dug very deeply into the latest report by World Economic Forum on the future of jobs. And development of AI and new frontier technologies was one of the primary themes. Another one was, of course, sustainability and environmental sustainability in particular. But focusing on the AI field, what is stated now is that AI is actually expected to be adopted by nearly 75% of companies, and it will create significant churn in the job market. So there will be professions that no longer exist and are going to be changing. But there will also be a positive side to it. There will be new professions that are required to actually deal with AI and take the advantages of the new technologies and integrate them into business and society. So this is kind of a common theme. And here we picked up a very kind of interesting diagram from LinkedIn. What types of roles are being put out to hire in LinkedIn. And we can see that the top roles that are growing are actually associated with people. So there are sales and customer engagement, and then there's human resources and talent associated roles. And these are roles where we still need human skills. And it seems like the sort of the interaction between people is shifting more and more to the customer front, even though we also see technologies in the customer front. I have a couple of examples in a bit. But there are also very sort of technology-related roles. There are new roles associated with technology and IT, and of course, cybersecurity, which is now that AI is progressing, also the sort of the negative side of it is emerging in a totally new way. So the skills required to fight cybercrime are renewing at a very fast pace. So this is one of the themes rising. Also, insights and analytics. We have heaps of data, different types of data from different environments, and the ability to process that data into insights and eventually value is one of the key skills that is, or professions that is needed. Now, the job landscape and the skills landscape is changing really fast. We mentioned the churn that's about to come. Now, there are studies, the latest studies estimate that especially in the tech field, the average half-life of skills is as low as 2.5 years. So this means that when you train for a profession, you cannot expect to do the same old stuff for the next 20 years, but it's actually the 2.5 years, and you have to continuously prepare for what's coming up next. So essentially, learning on the job is part of your job, and it's even more so as the pace of change is accelerating. And this is also realized in lots of the companies. So a majority of the companies are actually very much emphasizing learning and training on the job in the workforce strategies. They're using new technologies to do this. They're using different kinds of training platforms and providing employees opportunities to reskill themselves in the different areas of technologies. But one thing that I'd like to highlight here is that a couple of years ago, there was a lot of discussion about humans being replaced by robots and AI and whatnot. It doesn't seem that that's the case. And there have also been studies showing that in fact, the humans will have an equally relevant role in the future as well. It will just be allocated to different kinds of jobs and different kinds of professions. And this is exactly what we're seeing in these companies as well. Now, one of the skills that is highlighted above all is not sort of technology skills per se. You don't have to be the best programmer of a specific kind, or you don't have to master distinct technologies necessarily all the way, but you need to be able to apply the technologies that emerge. So the ability to use these tools, the ability to use these technologies is actually the top-rated skill for any profession today and tomorrow. And I think this is one of the interesting topics that I will draw on in a bit, in combining the technology skills and the human skills. Because applying technology requires more than knowing the technology. It requires you understanding what is the problem that you're applying the technology for. It requires you to be able to interact with humans, interact and listen to people, their needs, desires, and fears, so that you can actually find the right way to use the technology to solve the problem. So a new skills paradigm is actually emerging. This is not the World Economic Forum data. This is actually a long-standing study that IBM Institute of Business Value Skills Survey that they're doing annually, and they're kind of seeing how the valuation of different types of skills is changing over time. And in the recent years, we have seen a significant shift from valuing the traditional knowledge-based skills into valuing the human interaction skills. And I think this is very, very important in terms of thinking about also what is the role of technology and what is the role of us as professionals. Lots of tech companies are actually now supporting their employees in learning how to interact, how to communicate, how to collaborate. The pandemic pushed most of us online, and that's a totally new environment where we have to learn how to connect with each other, and this is something that lots of the companies are investing in. So the key focus areas for professional development, based on the latest insights, really highlight the ability to apply AI, but also to apply it in human collaboration. So strengthening these socio-emotional skills. And this is also, as a fact, these are the topics that the majority of the corporate training initiatives and investments are currently flowing into. Here are a couple of examples to wrap up this sort of more generic intro. I really wanted to bring this up. I saw this in the news in the summer, and I thought it was an excellent example of what's happening. Remember the first graph where we had the customer-facing roles being on the rise. So even though we have all of these bots and chat bots and whatnot, and we would think that maybe those are replacing humans, with IKEA, they actually retrained their call center people, because Billy the bot was taking care of over 47% of the routine assignments, but they retrained their entire call center staff to become interior design consultants. So they're actually helping people to solve the more sort of creative problems and the human problems and situations where you need probably more sparring and ideation and things like these. And I think this is a wonderful example of, and IKEA specifically explicitly announced that they're not looking to do job cuts. They're actually finding new ways to provide value to their customers with the professionals that they work with already. I have some years of background in the healthcare industry, and I think there the most exciting developments are in image recognition and image analysis, because medical imaging is one of the biggest kind of bottlenecks and also most important domains in the field of medicine. This is an example that was actually also associated with this study, was a news in the Yle News a couple of days ago, was it last week, about this Alzheimer disease, how you can apply AI in early detection of signals that predict Alzheimer's disease or even diagnose Alzheimer's disease. There's worldwide research on this, but the development of AI models to do this accurate prediction is really going on. In manufacturing, AI has already been used quite a lot. I think the most recognized examples are associated with with maintenance, predictive maintenance, and also doing visual inspections on product lines. So, for example, artificial intelligence and image recognition, instead of a person looking at, are the parts okay that are going forward, or does the sequence look healthy? This can be done by AI and image recognition technology, and detecting patterns that are off or that predict that there will be some quality issues, and then you can look deeper into them. So in all of these industries, which are very different, there are different applications of AI, and with this, I would like to transition our focus to the panel. We're still on time. I have this very non-AI analog clock here that I'm following at the same time. So I'd like to warmly welcome Erin, Hanna, Maaret, and Hilda on stage. So welcome. Could you briefly introduce yourselves so we know who we are?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Erin Comey, and I'm really happy to be here today. And I'm working in one of those fields that is also rapidly changing, like AI. And so I'm an AM specialist. So I am working on Etteplan's additive manufacturing and optimization team. And I'm sitting in our Hyvinkää office. And our business manager, Tero, is actually here today as well, joining me. And anyways, my role is mostly involving simulation and design for the production of metal AM parts. And so when I'm talking about simulation, it's mostly related to design optimization. So we're using topology optimization, generative design, and this type of thing. And then we're also simulating the actual manufacturing processes we are using. So for laser powder bed fusion, we have process simulation for that. And then I'm also doing sintering simulation for metal binder jetting. And on the side, I'm also contributing to adding acoustic simulation competence within Etteplan.
Wow, that's much more advanced than 3D modeling with live interior props.
But we use 3D modeling, and I love to do that as well.
Thank you, Hanna.
Yeah, nice to be here, and also nice to see all of you here. So my name is Hanna Remula. I'm working in Etteplan as a head of designing cloud and applications in software solutions area. I'm participating and helping with our customers in their digitalization path, but also developing the business and competencies here in Etteplan. And also it's really nice to be here because leading the change, developing competencies, but also creating or cultivating a creative culture is really close to my heart, and all of these have really much in common to today's topic.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Maaret Henriksson. I'm working as a head of professional services at Etteplan in the technical communications business unit. And basically what we do is that we plan information structures. We transfer the technical content into understandable instructions. We translate those into different languages and publish to the users. And in addition, we are planning and helping our customers to plan information strategies, processes, and sort of to align those with the business vision and strategies that they have. And as a good example, I took a new phone into use this weekend, and basically in the sales box, there was a user guide that we have done. So this is a very concrete example of the things that we do. We do these for a lot bigger machines than phones also, but just as a concrete thing. So I thought that I'll bring it here with me. Good.
And Hilda.
Hello everyone, my name is Hilda Lundstedt. I work as a communications manager at Etteplan, have been now for 3 years. I work mostly with internal communications, employer branding, development projects, a lot of changes, which AI also is. And I've been always very fascinated about new technologies and change and how can we make it better and guess a burning question in my mind is that how can AI support us in making workplace communication better, more inclusive? And also I'm very curious but in what kind of world my baby boy will be born, who's very much kicking my ribs at the moment. So yeah, very thrilled to be here.
Thank you, everybody. Are you ready for the questions and the discussion?
Let's see.
Yep.
Okay. We have 4 questions, about 10 minutes per question. We'll have plenty of time to discuss. And remember to take up some thoughts and questions if you come up with some, so we can take those also after the panel. So the first question we have, how is AI shaping your work and your profession?
I can start answering this one. And I think that because we have 4 very different backgrounds, I will answer like specifically to me first, and hopefully the others can share. But basically, every day when we're designing parts for additive manufacturing, we're using a lot of advanced 3D modeling. We're doing simulation, for example, structural analysis, computational fluid dynamics, this sort of thing. And we're trying to combine that with our manufacturing know-how and manufacturing constraints and simulation and that sort of thing. And so the result is that we are using a ton of data and also a number of different software tools, and we need to come up with efficient ways to use those. And so at the moment, there's 3 different areas where we're already using AI. The first is design optimization, the second is workflow automation, and then the third is actual improvement of the manufacturing process. And I'll go into each of those 3 in a little bit more detail. So generative design is an AI-based design optimization tool that we're using. And so basically, with that one, what we're trying to do is optimize the use of material and optimize like how that material is being positioned for a given part that we're going to additive manufacture. And the inputs for this tool are things like spatial requirements, the loads that the part experiences during operation, the material, the manufacturing process that you want to use, and some objectives or like design requirements, or component requirements. And then what happens is during the optimization process, the generative design tool sort of explores and creates like possible design options, and then sort of tests each of those to see how it compares to your original input and your design objectives. And like Katarina was mentioning earlier, as AI is being used for each of those iterations, there's this learning that goes into it. And so the things that are good and the things that are bad about each design are noted, and then the process is repeated. And the nice thing about this tool is that these actual like design options are generated really, really quickly. And so you can get, tens, hundreds, or even more design options, quite fast and, with not too much computational power needed. The second area where we're utilizing AI now is in our workflow automation. And like I mentioned before, we're trying to connect a lot of different software tools. And so we're trying to build these repeatable, like reusable workflows where we're doing certain tasks, or we're using scripting, to sort of optimize this workflow and to do like these certain repeatable tasks. And so we're using these language-based models now to generate some of the scripting, especially in those when we're using these languages that aren't necessarily familiar to our design engineers. And then finally, we're using, or AI and machine learning are being used then to improve the actual additive manufacturing process. And this is being done through quality assurance and defect detection and real-time process control. So basically, I guess you could summarize that we're using AI in a similar manner as many other industries. So we're trying to analyze a lot of data rapidly. We're trying to eliminate these repetitive tasks, and we're doing this error detection and quality control.
Wow, super interesting, very concrete day-to-day examples. What about Hilda, Maaret, Hanna?
Yeah. Maybe I can continue. So maybe if I focus to the like a digital service design area in my job, I think that the importance of it will become even like more, or it will become more like important in the future, because service design is a problem-solving method that is like combining the analytical and also creative methods and serving the tools for facilitating these kind of creative, innovative processes. And in the future, I think that this will also become really vital in surviving in many businesses, to have like tools for this multi-experts collaboration and creative innovation. And also I think that the service design will shift more like strategic role also in the future, because like in other industries, some of these manual tasks will be automated increasingly in the future, so that the role will shift more like leading these processes, facilitating the collaboration. And the third thing that I'm thinking, that even if the data scientists and data analysts are even now our like close friends, they will become like best friends in the future. So we need to also know how to collaborate with data professionals, but also understand the possibilities, because we are also creating or designing the services that are utilizing the possibilities of AI.
The data professionals also need to know how to collaborate with you.
Yeah, I hope so.
Thank you, Maren.
Yeah, I agree, Hanna, what you're saying. And I think that, well, I'm working with information, obviously. We all are, but we have like a special focus on that one. So, of course, like Erin, you said, we're also like currently planning how can we replace with AI some repetitive like tasks in the process, looking at from not top down, but down to top. But at the same time, when we're planning this sort of process renewal and thinking that how can AI maybe replace parts of the process to make things easier, I think we have to combine it with what Hanna is saying about how do we actually plan it. So that it's not only using the current processes as is, but actually rethinking a bit the whole like umbrella and infrastructure of making the information, and I think that becomes even more important. Although we use also like script macros, things like that, to sort of help with the day-to-day processes, but I think it's even more important to really plan the whole thing properly, so that we are prepared to run the process more efficiently. And I think that goes back to how do we learn the AI or teach the AI, like Katarina was saying in the beginning, and going back to the new competencies that we need. I think that's really important for us to think now.
So focus on really applying.
Yeah, exactly.
AI,
Yeah.
I think it's very, very interesting how we all kind of find these connections, even though we are from totally different backgrounds. Like process optimization, I guess we can all see that we somehow optimize the processes. In communications, we can really cut down the time that we use to create drafts, for example. We're creating content all the time. So with the help of AI, we can really tap into that we don't have to spend our time in that. So saving time also in different things. So, and quality assurance in different ways. The AI can support us in checking if our spelling is correct, or if we're using repetitive words, or something that a certain cultural group won't understand that we're targeting, or really kind of help us in that and then save us time.
And in communications, there's also new technology that can detect behavioral patterns. So they can tell us, like heart rate monitors tell us whether we're doing good or bad in our training regimen. The AI can in the future tell us whether we're behaving appropriately or not. And people don't intentionally mean to do bad things, but it might be good to be aware. So really interesting, extremely interesting examples from all of the areas, and drilling a bit deeper into the head topics that we just discussed. Okay, So are you ready to progress to the next question? Okay. Now, we cited this question a little bit in the intro as well, but now I'm placing it for you. So how do you think tasks will be distributed between humans and technology in the future? Maybe diving a bit deeper into your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Maybe I can start. So this is maybe something that you already know and already heard and already think that the manual and routine task will increase automating in the future also. And now when we have this kind of advanced technology, maybe the speed is already like accelerating. So it's kind of like coming more fast. And like you were presenting, Katarina, the studies and researches, I think that you were also mentioning the World Economic Forum. They have like for years came up with these thoughts, but now it's really the advanced technology is now we have that, and now the speed is really changing. So that the human technology collaboration will become maybe the essential in the future, how to collaborate with the technology, how to utilize the possibilities, and how to combine the strengths of both humans and technology. Then, like Marit said, and we all mentioned that the people or the humans will shift the role to more like managing technology or maintaining technology, and then like the humans will play a significant role in the future also with this emotional intelligence and complex reasoning, like Katarina said, because these are something that it's not so easy to replicate by the machines. I already mentioned in a previous topic related to service design role shifting and making more importance, but basically the like facilitating, leading the innovative, creative processes. How can we combine different background and expertise and the data and the AI possibilities? We need the human to kind of like leading and facilitating that kind of processes in the future also. And something I think we are going to dive deeper to that topic later on, but humans will still stay like accountable for the AI. So even though we have the AI applications, we are still responsible for the ethical applications of it, and that will also be one really like important role of humans in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's really like important and interesting point.
Yeah.
Because anyway, although like Katarina, you were talking about AI's ability to learn, but we are the ones who teach it.
Yeah.
Sort of, so we need to remember that. And like you say, we are still accountable for the decision making. We're basically getting the data to support the decision making more easily with AI or through AI, however we want to say it. But basically, I think that we can't like escape our responsibility
or outsource it
exactly. To make decisions. But it also sort of brings a lot of. It's a question of power too.
Yeah.
So it's taking responsibility and having the power to make the decisions.
Yes.
So in that sense, I think that we still need to remember that basically AI is still like it's a machine. Although it can learn to maybe 90% of the things eventually that you want it to be sort of learning, but the 10% is definitely something that it can never learn because it's in our heads.
And maybe I can build on that. So I think humans can also differentiate themselves by being the trusted source of information. And they need to do the quality check on whatever the AI provides to us and not be too blindly trusting it. So especially in communications, I feel like we have the role to be the ones who say that this is the real deal.
Yeah.
Because now, for example, it's been so funny because there have been so many discussions around AI now, and I've been participating to several events with customers, for example, and usually the presentations always start that I asked this from AI. That what should I sort of say here in the podium? So that's always the first note nowadays. But I did not ask, by the way. But if you think about that one, and what Hilda, you said, because now we need to go through all the data we get, because we can't trust it fully, and that takes actually quite a lot of time. So because when you run something through it, so you sort of first think that, okay, this looks really good and it's exactly what I wanted. But when you start actually reading it, you notice that actually this is some gibberish eventually. It sort of looks good when you sort of run it through. But now we use actually quite a lot of time to verify and do this quality assurance with the data that we have. So it's also interesting to think that when are we at that point? How long does it take to actually trust what we get from AI?
It's like a good assistant, but it's not yet doing the job. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like in simulation, you always have to validate.
Yes.
So I think that's the thing to keep in mind and plan for. Yeah, of course. But I think as an engineer, I feel, maybe AI is bringing out the kid in me because I see all of the potential and having access to all of these tools like ChatGPT and HeyGen and DALL-E. You can play around and you can really get to understand what is coming next, and it's burning all these new ideas, and really excited for what this is bringing. And I like the idea that sort of these boring and repetitive tasks are going to, be replaced, and you get to do more of the fun stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope we can rise to that level very soon, that we can actually focus on the more strategic side of things and more creative, and you can let the machine do that repetitive and things that need automation, and then you can be more on a higher level in a way.
Yeah.
I have to admit that the thought crossed my mind. Since I'm working in AI, it would be street credible to actually do the presentation with AI as well. But I refused the temptation, knowing the limitations, and I actually put in the work and tried to put together a little bit more curated stuff. But you're absolutely right. And what I hear from all of your kind of viewpoints is that it's not about what AI can do. It can do tons of things, but it's essentially what do we let it do? And that's kind of an important thing to think about in all of our roles and professions. Okay, are you ready for the next one?
Yep.
We talked about ethics a little bit already here. So this question is essentially stemming from that, but also the rise of social sustainability. So there's a big trend in environmental sustainability, but alongside also the awareness of social sustainability is rising. And this is one of the most important topics of the current debate, also associated with AI. So this question is on how can we apply AI in promoting social sustainability at work, and this means supporting diversity, inclusion, and equal opportunity. What are your thoughts on that topic?
Well, this topic is very close to my heart. I've been working very closely with the Happy Days initiative that Johanna mentioned in the welcome words, so the community-led initiative where we try to promote diversity, inclusion, and equality in the company. And I feel like we should use all the tools in our disposal to promote that work in the workplace, to feel like everyone has a chance to participate, feel like they can belong. And I think AI has a lot of potential in removing barriers in communication. Like you could have more inclusive meetings by providing captions or real-time translations to text, especially if you're not working in your native language, or you have neurodiversity challenges or something like that. So I think we should really utilize that. And another example could be in recruitment. We could get a lot more candidates from different kind of backgrounds and remove biases that us humans might have. And then we could make sure that the language we use everywhere in recruitment, in communication, that it's inclusive. But of course, there's a risk that we transfer those human biases into the processes. So we also need to make sure that we are sure about the data that we provide before moving forward with that.
Yeah. Well, I think also that basically currently there is a lot of discussion about different, for example, neurodiversity issues in the society, and I'm hoping that with AI we could get more people working in different kind of tasks, people who have, for example, learning disabilities and things like that, because I think that it would be really nice to work with very different kind of people also and to learn from them. But I hope that basically AI would be helping us to sort of maybe broadening also the society in the working culture, and like you were saying, Hanna, about the cultural aspect. So I really hope that it helps us. But I also see some threats there, which is obviously quite alarming too, because there might be then again some groups eventually, at least in some fields of industry, that are like completely then out of the discussions, and it is quite alarming. So I think that all in all, we are talking obviously about now the work that we do at Etteplan and things like that, but there are many fields of industry, many fields of work environments where the change might actually be even huger than we have, and I think that it's something that the society needs to be prepared for.
Completely true.
Yeah, and I think one other comment, it's a little bit on the side rather than adding on to what you've said. I think the idea of being able to optimize and make more efficient our work days means that we also have the opportunity to sort of work on this work-life balance. And I think that AI could really help contribute to that as well.
Yeah, I agree. I see a lot of possibilities.
I think this work-life balance viewpoint is really interesting, because that's an area where we could use technology and AI to support people in different situations in their lives, which is normal in working life. You're not always 120% there, and there are phases where you might be limited in certain abilities and so forth. So there are many opportunities to increase awareness of that. And then also, I really loved the examples of, for example, recruitment. That's actually an area where a lot of AI is being applied today. There are so many applications and so many solutions to do automated resume screening, for example, and things like this. But the biggest problem there is the incorporated bias into the current language models, and that's where a lot of the work is actually now focusing on.
But that also now means that the people who are applying for jobs, they need to learn new skills in how to do CVs. Because so it's sort of throughout the sphere where we need to learn new things. Because now if AI is reading somebody's CV, I don't know when I did last time my own CV. So, but it uses different parameters than you or me would probably use. So it's sort of visible, the change everywhere.
One other thing that you, Marit, mentioned was the neurodiversity. And I think that's an area, in the intro we also talked about collaboration skills and how can we work with each other. Now, for some, that's a very, very challenging area. And I think another way for AI to support us would be to build awareness about different ways of behaving in different situations, more awareness about the differences amongst us as individuals and how we react to different situations, because not everybody is the same. And raising this awareness could really help building more inclusive work communities and teams. And there we can use a lot of language technology and behavioral technology that's not built on top of just one model of behavior. like this is how you should behave in certain situations, but built on understanding about what are the different ways different people might react, and using that information, for example, in leadership positions. And I think leadership training and tools for team leads, project leads are really crucial in the future to help them become more aware of the individual differences in a team and the ways of behaviors.
Yeah. And something that the workplace communication can also benefit from is this kind of chatbots that they analyze individual behavior, and then they can communicate with the employee directly based on specific personal needs that they might have.
Yeah.
Have you tried any of those kinds of technologies in your work?
No.
Not yet.
Not that one.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So lots of opportunities in space, in this space. One of the also important sort of, not because this is a new theme, new topic, everybody's talking about environmental sustainability, but this social sustainability is really key. So what every company, and when you're building your professional skills, these sustainability skills are also on the rise, even though we're not going too deeply into those. So social sustainability is something that's really coming. You have to be aware of what it means, what it entails, and there's also this EU AI Act that is really focusing on, for example, ethics of designing AI, which is connected to making socially sustainable decisions and solutions in this space. Okay. So are we ready for the next question?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, now this is a tough one. How can we as professionals manage the balance between opportunity and risk of AI? We haven't been talking too much about the risks. I mean, there have been some examples, but how do you see this balancing act?
Well, I could start because I think that we actually have to go back to basics, and how do we work nowadays? How have we been working? How have we been planning our business previously? We have been basically doing proper business plans and project plans, and assessing sort of what do we want to achieve. And I think that here we have the same thing. What do we want to actually achieve with AI in our company or in our community? And I think that we have to do basic definition and requirement management work, sort of with that one, and prioritize and focus then, and to sort of plan properly that, okay, this is what we want to achieve. These are the steps that we take. Sort of nothing new in that. I think we all who are in the working life, we are used to doing that in the business, and I think that we have to take a realistic and incremental approach like we do nowadays, sort of an agile thing for us with AI as well, and what we do also, we monitor what we learn. And we sort of develop on top of that because we adjust our behavior also and actions. So I think that in that sense, I sort of think that back to basics is the thing that we have to do, because if the baseline is in order in our processes, ways of working, so then we can use AI as a part of that to help us. But if the basics are not in order, it will be maybe a mess. And I think that what is even more important now when we need to plan together or do these things is to do it together. So the teamwork, the discussions, brainstorming together, and sort of planning the goals together, I think that becomes even more important. So the people, that was actually mentioned in the keynote. So I think that there was the jobs on the rise for the engagement, customer engagement, but think about time management, working together, and communication. So let's talk to each other and sort of going back to basics also. Yeah. So I think that those are the things that are really, really important now. We have to get the basics in order to really get the best out of AI. Yeah. And I think that what we have collective intelligence, the people. So the AI is there to help with that one, but it cannot replace it. So I think that working together, talking to each other and planning together and using our brains together. So I think that is the key thing here.
Yeah. Really good insights, and I'm like thinking these questions from like two angles. Another is related to like risks in like developing the AI. So we need to understand and be aware and know like the security, transparency, and fairness, accessibility issues. We need to know these kind of things when we are designing and developing solutions with AI. But another thing is actually was really good insights from Weekend. I think I read from LinkedIn from Riikka Tanner, who was writing that there is a like organizational challenge to lead the transition from information-centric work to mental work. In Finnish, it's from tietotyö to ajatustyö. So that now the transition is going on, how to lead the transformation, how to lead the skill development to the work when we actually need to think more, not to process the information. That was really a good question. I don't know the answer. Probably some of you know something, but it was really interesting topic, I think so.
It kind of connects what Maarit also said about this togetherness, that we need a lot of brain power, not only from AI, but from all of us together to find the solutions and not lose the human touch in that. I think that's one of a major risk as well, that if we automate too much, we lose the humanity and empathy and everything, sensitivity that cannot be replaced by a machine, I think.
And how to increase the amount of it also in the world of technology, I think so.
Yeah, very interesting points. And I really like this back to basics idea. But I think it's also important to keep in mind that there are so many different fields and different points of view when utilizing AI. So it can't be just a one size fits all sort of solution or approach. And so I think that even while saying that, we should also be aware of what's happening around us and see how different industries and, different points of view and like different applications, like how AI is being used, how these risks are being managed, and, what are the like potential outcomes that are being seen elsewhere that can then be applied in-house.
And I think that for us, I fully agree, and this is like a big change management sort of a program as a company also, and for the other companies as well, that needs to be planned. And like Erin, you said that you need to have different plans maybe for different parts of the organization. But I also think that if I'm thinking sort of outside our like company environment, and what we were discussing, that it's basically AI is a machine and it sort of learns what people teach to it. So we need to go back to schools. We need to go back to how do we actually bring up our children, to be honest, because we have to. So that is like the also one part of the back to basics type of a thing, maybe that if we upbring our kids in a good way and work together with the schools to sort of make sure that they are nice. So that means that they will eventually in the future teach AI some nice things and not mean things. Because I think that's quite important. Sort of maybe a funny thought, but I was thinking about it during the weekend that and going back to what you said about being humane. I think that is really essential with this AI thinking, that we have to keep our sort of humane thinking and humanity, the basic values, in order to keep it under control also.
Yes, it's also about the individual responsibility that you feed data to AI and you're in charge of that, what you provide it and how you utilize it. So you can also tackle the risks in that way, that by being a human, do it, a nice human, preferably.
Yes.
I really love the viewpoint on the next generations. like thinking about the risks of AI, one of the topics that I'm really concerned about are these human-like agents. You always, or everybody knows the CAPTCHA, the annoying 9 pictures where you have to prove that you're human. Now, with the development of AI, we're going to have very human-like agents online, and like we all want to design and develop AI for good, but there is always the opposing force in the world. AI is used in military, AI is used in warfare, AI is used in cybercrime. So I think one of the areas of risk management is also training new sort of professionals to fight back and to kind of predict and identify those, and also to recognize these more and more human-like agents. So the era of clumsy phishing spam is now, but it will soon be something totally different. So I think this is also one of the downsides. But that also comes to the younger generation. They are the vulnerable, and AI is a true threat to the vulnerable. And there we really need to think about how to protect and how to kind of equip the next generations to deal with these new kinds of technologies.
And like you were saying in the keynote, that we all we need to learn all the time. It's continuous learning for us who are now in the work life, but it is also our responsibility to teach the younger generation in a right way based on our own learnings.
But I think this sort of balancing and the responsibility as professional, it's actually also a little bit scary. Do I know enough? Do I know what's going on? Am I ready, equipped to identify the risks and the threats? And I think that's something where we need, as professionals, also support. And you mentioned this accountability earlier on. So we really need discussion also in organizations about how do we distribute the accountability and support the professionals in their work, and also create sort of structures that provide the information and safeguard against specific threats.
And I think that we also have to be honest that nobody knows everything. And we all know this is like a new thing for everybody now. So and in some places it sort of changes things in a rapid motion, like you said, Hanna, also. But in some places it's slower. But let's be honest to each other, and let's not pretend that we know everything, and because nobody knows now, and sort of together come up with the best possible solutions at this point, basically.
Hey, we are at the beautiful situation where we are on time. So congratulations on that. And we have an excellent opportunity to talk about some questions that you might have come up with during this event. So we're ready to take questions here. Let's have Karolina bring the mic so we can all hear and we can get it also online. And then we can get also some questions from online, but let's start with.
Hello. Sorry, a little bit afraid of mic.
No worries.
As a person who is not very much public speaking. But what I wanted to ask you about, first of all, I want to say a huge thank you, because in this very fast changing and growing AI situation in the world, you all the time think I am on the same, am I familiar with everything, what is coming up every day? I can give you a couple of examples, and after that ask a question. For example, yesterday news was quite interesting, just a couple of news before the midnight. First of them was about that ChatGPT now speaks. And now ChatGPT not only can communicate with you and do discussions, it can also help you to learn Finnish, for example. It's quite challenging. And another thing was that scientists, with the help of AI, actually found a way how to grow teeth. Because the AI found a way how it can be like can be implanted, some, I don't know how to cells can be implanted, and now it's not something that potentially can be resolved. It's already done and gonna happen in 2 years. And my question is, let's play a little bit in that predictive analysis and what you think what is actually coming up next. Can you think and share your thoughts about some, I don't know, miracles, what is available in 2030? Because, like, for example, Mercedes, they think and talk about what is happening 2020 or 2050, and they plan what is happening there. And what are your thoughts? What is going to happen, like, in 10 years? Because that is so fast growing.
Wow, I love that question. So think about the miracles.
Yeah, not the easy question first, but really great question. Thank you for that one. I guess I'm most excited to see, maybe not predict, but to see what is happening, especially in the medical field. And I think that especially now where we're in the situation here and in many other places where hospital staff are really overtaxed and there aren't enough people to fill those jobs, I think that if AI can be used, for example, in this imaging analysis or in, filling out these forms and paperwork and these sort of things, the things that not offering this interpersonal like communication and sort of like giving the personal touch, but all of those extra tasks, if we can eliminate or sort of push off those tasks to AI and other, similar systems, I think that medicine and this field in general advances quite quickly.
It's a tricky question, I think. But I think it's so fast that it's going to be part of our everyday somehow. Like that we don't even think about it anymore, that it's just there already in 10 years, that we use it as a support in work and also outside of work in our daily lives.
Because if we look back like 10 years ago, there is so much been happening in 10 years. Like we are now, like all of us are using smartphones and all of these social media things have been rising up in 10 years. So if the same speed is going on with the AI, I think that we are getting really exciting thing. This was really, really good insight. I think that in a medical technology field, there will be really important like findings from that area.
Yeah, and that's true because now during the past, like you said, 10 years, 20 years, things have progressed so fast. Because if you think about 70 years ago, they were talking about flying cars. That still hasn't happened.
Yeah.
We don't know even if that could happen in 5 years now.
Yeah.
Because of all the sort of rapidly changing technology things, so I think that I don't have an answer to your question, but probably we can invent whatever. But the other thing is that do we want to take it into use? So yeah, I'm a bit like I'm a bit cautious with that side. But I think that what the speed looks like really, and what we are inventing all the time, or the wiser than me are inventing. So anything basically.
I had the advantage of actually processing while you were discussing.
Yeah,
so
good.
I also want to thank for the question because you're really encouraging us to kind of step out of the box.
Yeah.
And I kind of got stuck on the word miracle. What's a miracle? It's something that you think is impossible. Something unimaginable. And I actually thought about, I read some examples, and this is a huge kind of very controversial also in terms of ethics. But what if we were able to bring back the dead? And this sounds horrible, but there are AI applications that are able to mimic a human voice, for example, and model a human personality and things like these. So within some years, what if we were able to kind of bring back memories of people who once were to console their family members or things like these? So that I would probably consider a miracle. A little bit scary one as well, because there is a point in human grief and all of that, but then there might be applications where that could be also helpful.
And I think that, that's
For example,
that's
small
very
children
interesting.
who have traumatically lost
exactly.
their parents and things like this. So that's one kind of area.
Yeah, that's interesting, but also, like you say, it's scary because our minds are built to handle things in a certain way. So that means that this rapid development can lead to even more like mental problems and things like that. So, which is another side of this then, but quite interesting to think now when you brought that example up.
Yeah,
so,
and it's not very far. But there are so many of us, and not everybody, thinks about ethics and stuff the same way. So we're probably going to be confronting these technologies and having to make the decisions ourselves whether we apply them.
And that goes back to opportunities and risks, and not only in the business life, because that's completely different sphere than this example.
Thank you. Do we have some more questions from the audience? Please. And then Carolina, pick up some if they are online. We can take them next.
Hi. So as a professionals, the first thing that comes to our mind when we talk about AI is the risk more than opportunity. Do you think in such a rapidly changing AI technologies, we can prepare expertise, like risk management expertise, who can, for example, I will talk about my point of view. I'm a project manager. Some projects we're working on needs to keep it hidden until the day we can reveal it. Don't you think the competition rules will change if we use AI in another certain way? So how can we prepare, or is it possible even to prepare expertise, risk managers' expertise in such a rapidly changing AI technologies?
I think it's possible, because I think it's sort of, I'm also a project manager, so sort of in my background, so in that sense, I fully understand, and it's sort of going back to basics again. So I think that there are things that you can estimate, assess, and prioritize. You can still use the basic techniques that you've been using until now as a project manager. But the problem is that you don't know all the answers. Well, you never know. So that's where I think the teamwork comes into place, because there are experts who might be able to evaluate the actual subject matter better than you as a project manager, but then you need to keep the planning under control. So you can still use the basic techniques, but I think the problem comes from the fact that we don't know what happens tomorrow. But then even more, I think the teamwork is the essential thing here, is the answer, basically.
I think this teamwork, and then also some level of adaptability and adjusting to what is coming as it's happening.
Definitely. I think that the role of project managers will also be more important, because this sounds really much like a project management as it is nowadays also. So you need to lead a team of experts who are knowing something that you are probably not knowing, but you need to prioritize, manage the teamwork. So I think that also handling situations that are not maybe fully, you don't know all of it, and you don't know exactly what is going to happen in, for example, 2 weeks. These are kind of basics in project management, and these kind of skills will also become more important in a future also.
But in a business environment, probably decision making is a key thing. So you need to probably make quite rapid decisions, and that means also taking bigger risks sometimes. So that's why sort of making sure that you have enough either power to do the decisions, or you get a sponsor who's actually in the organization able to make the decisions. I think that is also important if you think about your work.
I think your question also touched upon a very important point of IP protection and secrecy, and sort of openness of data, for example, and requirements for being open about what you develop and what you do. I think this is one important area when we think about professional development for project managers and for architects and whatnot. When we're creating new solutions, for example, the data regulation is changing all the time. We cannot consider ownership of data the same way as we used to consider. So there is a huge need to update also in terms of the legislative requirements and requirements to open. The other thing is that when we have AI-driven solutions, the customers want to kind of be able to assess and the validity of them. So we need to constantly balance how much of the methodology do we reveal, but at the same time protect. So IP protection and data privacy are key kind of competence areas that I see as important for project management and technology development.
Yeah.
Okay. We have Carolina something from online.
Yes, we have plenty of online questions too. So the first one was asked during your discussion, and it was, what do you think are the most important professional skills and qualities that an AI specialist should have?
Really good question to sum up some of the...
I think that it is somehow related to, of course, there is much like very like technical things and competencies, but knowing the ethical principles will become more important. So how to like know transparency and security and accessibility, fairness, these kind of things will be really important to like pay attention to.
And regardless of your role, you need to be amazing with dealing with humans.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think also because if you're involved in AI development, I mean, this is naturally one of those rapidly changing fields. So I think, again, this adaptability and willingness to learn are also really key.
It's true.
Thank you.
There was also another question. Will AI be able to learn to provide the human touch?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I think it will be very, very hard to replicate empathy, especially the contextual knowledge that you have when you're dealing with humans. I think I would say also no.
Any other opinions or thoughts?
No opinions.
Well, for example, when you were talking about kind of bringing people back to life, would that not be kind of providing a human touch as well?
Now, this is a super, super difficult topic. Some years back, I had the opportunity to work a bit with Katri Saarikivi, who's a brain researcher. And back then, she's particularly studied empathy. And her take on this was that actually, yes, computers and robots and whatnot can learn to express empathy. Empathy is actually a set of behaviors, and it's a skill. But what you cannot probably expresses genuine emotion, and I still believe that humans are very good at sensing genuine emotion, which is not only the type of information that we are used to dealing with quantum or binary. It's another level of information. It's biochemical, it's sensory, it's pheromones or whatnot. So it's a much more complex cocktail of information that makes up the human touch. So to some extent, yes, technology and computers can adopt human qualities, and for example in Japan there are robots in elderly homes who are actually doing very well. We have Tamagotchis and things like this. So to some extent we can kind of substitute these objects of care to computers, but not fully. But an interesting domain where we will most likely see various applications. Hey, there's a question here.
I have a question. Okay, so this is called Women in AI. So can you tell me, and I know we've been talking about empathy and some of your mothers, what makes women better equipped for the future? Like, will this be the great equalizer, or like you're talking like empathy, caring, the future, children? What makes you better equipped? I mean, better, even more, right?
Thank you. Any thoughts?
Interesting question.
Yeah.
I hope nothing, to be honest. I hope it's not a question of genders. I hope it's a question about personalities and people. So my answer is I hope nothing. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I know
haven't
what you
even
mean.
thought-
I think it's really interesting point that you're raising. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very curious. I haven't even thought about
Yeah.
gender in this sense.
Yeah. Good food for thought. Yeah.
Other thoughts?
I don't know anything to say. I agree with you, but
Yeah.
I haven't.
Quite interesting.
What's
Yeah.
interesting about your question,
Yeah.
it's its connection to culture. So not gender,
Yeah.
but culture. What is normally expected
Yeah.
of women, men, different types of people. And I think that's an area where we need to really actively practice more open thinking and not think about what makes others better than others, but what is actually expected from everyone and what is expected in the era of AI. And caring and emotion, it's equally a quality of men and others. So this is something that, is there a culture that actually enables bringing out those qualities? Is there a culture that actually rewards these different types? Previously, and we all probably know this, the culture in working life has actually diminished women's natural tendency to bring out their emotions and show compassion and empathy. Now, I think the culture is something that we really need to become more aware of, shape, lead, and kind of drive to the way which kind of puts the requirements for everybody in these areas. Really good and a tough question, I can tell, because lots of us went a little bit quiet. Thank you. Okay, so now I think we still have time for one very brief question. Is there something online? Because I don't want to take 10 minutes for the conclusion. The conclusion is going to be quite compact. I really love the discussion here.
So the next one is, I also wonder how the skills related to AI will be taught, but in a more general way. Current employees, not only experts of the future, need to learn AI in various fields and to a different extent. How do we achieve that?
So how are the AI skills being taught?
Yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts on that in your teams, in your organization?
I think the skills are not being taught at all yet, to be honest. I'm sorry if I'm all the time answering in the wrong way, but that's why we are here now. That's why we're discussing this topic, to sort of understand what this whole thing is about and to understand how it should be thought.
Yeah, I think many of us are in this testing kind of phase currently, that some teams provide some extra time that you can learn to use new tools or new techniques. But I think it's going to become more formalized that we attend training programs or something that we learn alongside our jobs. But we need to have time for that, of course.
Yeah.
Because currently we have mostly like, what is generative AI? What are large language models? Sort of these kind of introductions is what we are hearing now. And I think that, like you say, it's sort of maybe a year from now, we have already more specialized programs. And I think that we will have maybe, or there is a need to have more specialized programs per company, depending what is your field, what do you do. And for example, we have so many different customers that we might even have some customer specific things. It goes back to the security things, information security and things like that we've been discussing, that we might have different approaches, for example, for different kind of categories of customers or customers, for example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe-
and I think at the moment self-learning is sort of
Yeah.
key for many fields. But then of course, machine learning and these AI related topics, they've been studied in university and elsewhere for years.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on the area and the application.
Yeah.
And but yeah, moving forward, I think as everything is developing, then these programs will be offered more and more at schools, at universities, and these sort of things. But it just depends on how AI is developing and how it's being used and applied.
Yeah, because I was also thinking that because I'm coming from software area, it's kind of like the technical skills are kind of like basic, not maybe that basic, advanced, but basically they're machine learning and everything. They are skills that are learned at the moment and have been learned for a while. But maybe the application of AI, it's more like specialized. Yeah.
I really love these viewpoints, and I also think this question was an excellent sort of in bringing us back to the actual topic of today, which is about learning and the new skills in the era of AI. And it kind of concluding from your points of view, it's not about like how do we teach AI, but how do we provide space to learn? And learning is about experimentation. So, and if we think about these organizations investing into learning and training programs, maybe also if we are kind of acquiring those learning and training programs, we could see that how much space do they give or opportunity for the employees to actually play around with new technologies, how frequently do they update their library of new technologies that is continuously growing and providing the space and opportunity to learn, and the time, of course. This is a challenge for every leader. Okay, so now a quick conclusion of this panel. We touched so many different aspects of AI, and I thought we really were able to drill very deeply into some topics as well. Regarding what AI is how it's shaping all of our jobs, I picked up that one of the interesting ways is that it's sort of a creative companion for the kind of simulation and stuff. You know, it's supporting, giving the alternatives in design work. It's actually generating different types of alternatives and designs you can use. And also when you're kind of thinking about ways of working and organizing work, you can simulate different types of scenarios. So it's actually a sort of planning companion and a creative companion. I really like this mindset in terms of how you can think about AI and apply in your work. Then regarding the roles of AI and humans, I think one of the takeaways there really was that it's not about what AI can do, because it can do loads of things, but we talked quite a lot about the ethical aspects and the accountability of us as professionals. So what do we actually choose it to do? What do we let it do? And these are like conscious decisions that we need to keep making all the time. And then one of the really interesting topics is around social sustainability. And I really want to encourage all of us to kind of actively also think about those themes and topics, and how can AI kind of help us becoming more aware of how do we as professionals behave, and how to understand how our colleagues work and think, and use that to support, and also how AI can also augment capabilities and skills, so we can include a much broader diversity and broader population to different kinds of tasks. And that requires creativity. It's also part of the planning that it's not like new professions plop out of the blue, but we have to actively think that what are the capabilities that we need, and could we combine the different things. So social sustainability as one of the key topics where human and technology is coming together now. And regarding that, I think the fourth one about the risks and the opportunities, I think one of the risks in AI also is associated with social sustainability and workplace well-being. So AI is also putting a lot of stress and burden on professionals and requirements for being responsible and knowing all of this stuff that's going on. So I think that also needs to be taken into account, that it's not all good, but we need to kind of manage also the emotional well-being and the capacity to handle these new developments, because they are not all positive ones. And the other thing, of course, about these risks, that we need new professions to kind of predict and fight back to the new ways in which technology is also used in harmful situations. But all in all, a super interesting panel, and I love the questions from the audience. You really brought this into life, especially in terms of the miracles and really kind of tough questions as well, where we really had to think about the different angles. I hope you enjoyed this morning, both here in person and online, and I wish you got some really nice takeaways. And on my behalf and on behalf of entire Etteplan, it has been a pleasure working with you over the past months and ideating these things, and pleasure to be here. So thank you from all of us to all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.